I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always been kind of beating to my own drum. I didn't know what that was as a young age, but as I got more experienced professionally and real estate kind of came into my peripheral, I realized that I was super passionate about it, and I realized that that was one of the wealth centers in the world where wealth gets generated through real estate. And so I went on this rampage, this obsessive rampage of trying to really understand everything I could and develop a business model around it. Because ultimately it's about taking care of my family and those who I love and those who are close to me. And this is a vehicle for me to do so. I don't come from a family of resources. I don't come from a family of a real estate background. I'm a first generation real estate developer and investor. And so I had to do a lot of research, a lot of digging. If I'm gonna start a business, I had to know what business I was getting into, right? And we're talking about, real estate is one of the oldest businesses in the book. This is how folks have been able to maintain and grow their wealth and take care of their families. And so, I just stuck to my own script, wrote a business plan and stuck to the script. And here we are almost 15 years later. Man, it sounds cliche, but my first book was titled Believe in Yourself for a reason. And I think when people start to actually manifest that belief versus just say it, then they start to see things change. And what that means is, you got to be consistent with what it is you want to do. You can't switch the script. If you want to be a mechanic, if you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a real estate developer, if you want to be a media, media icon, you got to do the things that it takes to get there and not switch up because times get hard. And I wrote about that in my book, that a lot of people, they see the goal and it looks like a straight line, but ultimately, it's a lot of zigzags. Stay focused, and ask yourself, is this gonna get me closer to my dream, my goals, my passion? If it's not, then there's your answer. I'm still navigating, racism isn't over. Systemic oppression isn't something that just ended because I was able to secure a few deals. It's alive and well. And the navigation part is that's the journey, but it's also being able to be savvy enough to understand when to confront that oppression. What I've been able to do is channel that feeling into positivity and progression. So whenever I feel it, I learn different ways and avenues to navigate around the conversation to make sure that we execute. And I don't let the systemic oppression, victimize my business or my mentality to where I'm boo-hooing and crying wolf. It is what it is. We live in America. It's not to our advantage. So knowing those are the rules of the game, I play the rules the same way they do, except I just got to be a lot more educated about the process. I hope that there's other Black and brown kids out there who can see themselves in the work that I'm doing, because it is attainable. You just got to sacrifice and put in that work. I would tell a 7-year-old Jaebadiah, because that Jaebadiah experienced a lot in the first 7 years of life. I would tell him that the pain that you feel is going to be the toughest pain you'll ever feel, so everything else is going to be easy. That pain, you already felt it. You ain't going to feel pain like that again. You can't. So go ahead and just take what you need to take from the universe and have a good time doing it.